All right, while we got a minute and we're talking kind of Gold Cup, preparing for the World Cup, why don't we take a look at Group D in the upcoming Gold Cup, because that's where we find the United States along with Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, and Saudi Arabia. There we see their accompanying.
Does Shaka know that Haiti's well above Trinidad?
I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he's not very happy about it. As for the players that they're going to take to the Gold Cup, here's what Mauricio Pochettino had to say about his potential roster.
How will you build a competitive mindset in the players against opponents that might be perceived as underdogs?
No, that is it's a tricky question and it's a tricky situation because I think in that case, money is, when you compete, sometimes it's not the most important thing, but I think the mindset must be there because the right mindset, no? Because I think we need to compete for our flag, our country, and it's not enough sometimes to come and to play. What we want to add to this group, the player and to the team, is the possibility to optimize every single area. But this area is really important because I think provide you the possibility to be in your peak and perform in your best. If not, only is talent that is sometimes useful, because if you don't have the right mindset to approach the game, that is why we are going to work, and also we need to be intelligent in the way that we are going to select the characters. No select only talent and names, if not to have a good balance, to provide the team the right characters to be really competitive.
All right, so we're not just picking names for the Gold Cup. Help me translate. What's he really saying there?
I think he's saying some players are going to be in trouble. It's not about talent. You got to bring in that effort, that mentality, which is a massive red flag. We heard it from Tyler Adams not too long ago about how those criticizing the U.S. men's national team, the mentality of it looks like players don't care, are 100% correct. It looks like they don't care. Now we hear the U.S. men's national team head coach, the manager, saying we need the right characters. It's not just about talent, that you need to be invested in fight. If a year out from the World Cup, the bare minimum they are asking is for effort, for mentality, for fight, the U.S. is screwed. The U.S. men's national team, a year out from the World Cup, this golden generation, they're in danger. They're in danger of becoming the wasted generation. That's what they're going to be known for. The generation that had everything that couldn't get it done. The wasted generation. You say it, and people are going to be like, well, that's what they are right now, because they could only beat Mexico. They have nothing of worth if it's not Mexico. Not one victory of worth. Their victory right now is a tie. Their victory right now is a tie against England. So many national teams get out of the group phase of the World Cup. That is nothing to hang your hat on. This team was given everything. 2018, you don't make the World Cup. They handed out national team appearances to a bunch of kids to give them growth, to give them what they needed or what they felt they needed to be the team at this World Cup. They were handed opportunities. They didn't earn those. They were handed opportunities. You used to have to fight like hell for a cap. They were gifted those. And now they're in a position right now of a home World Cup, and it looks like they don't care. And the manager's saying, we just need the right characters.
So on that front, he sounds a little bit like a club coach to me here, because he's saying, the players that I have don't have the fight. I may need to go get new players. Maybe you'll disagree with me here. I don't think the American pool is that deep that you're going to be able to go find guys who are willing to fight and also have somewhat of the quality to compete.
You have nowhere near that depth.
Right, so really his words are empty here. Really what he needs to do is he needs to get fight out of the guys who haven't been fighting for the last 18 months, both for him and for the end of the Berhalter. That's his job. That's the $6 million job. He can't say, I'm going to go out and get other players. No, you're not, buddy, because they don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist. And if he thinks he's going to do that, he's in for the Gold Cup's going to be very, very rough. Because that drop-off from, like, what you guys are talking about, those first 10, 11 to guys, 20, 30, that's a significant drop-off in the U.S. pool. And I don't know if he knows that.
And I think we were talking about it before the Nations League, and so much of the rhetoric coming out of camp was all that. This is how we're going to compete. This training, the intensity, this.
Be like
that.
Argentina.
And you're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden
it sounds kind of like Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and we get in that
there's
first
nothing
match,
but belief,
and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man.
And the thing you've been promised isn't even there. Like you're thinking $6 million guy, we're going to get some good tactics, but you wanted fight and you didn't even get that.
Right.
The belief that they talked about wasn't even there.
Right, and look, we saw issues of that, and then you thought, okay, friendlies. Now here's something that matters. I'm hearing this rhetoric. Now let me see it. And I was like, wow, this is so slow, so boring, so just zero intensity. And I'm going, I don't understand this.
Can he do what he's talking about? Can he actually leave big names off to make a point and the U.S. still win the Gold Cup? Are they that good?
He's the U.S. men's national team manager.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
he'll go
still
down
win
with
the
it.
Gold Cup.
Because of how bad the region is, you could probably still win the Gold Cup.
We've done that before. We've won Gold Cups without our
Let me just set the so those who are involved in the Club World Cup will not be involved.
So you'll be missing a few guys already.
You'll miss maybe one or two. Maybe it's just the Juventus guys. Maybe there's a transfer there for another player.
Well, there
we
might
don't know.
be a transfer for those too.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But Mexico, who's an ideal threat, who's a massive threat in this, if Club America beats LAFC,
right.
if that Leon, Tribuno doesn't go their way, and it's LAFC versus Club America beats LAFC, Club America will have how many national team players, important pillars of that national team, they're gone. Panama, can they duplicate it in a long tournament? Canada, maybe Jonathan David, no Alphonso Davies, they're not around.
So what happens?
Maybe you can
What
win
happens
this.
if they go win the Gold Cup without, I don't know who the big name is.
Sebi,
whoever you want, what big name? Do you leave that guy out for the rest of the way? Because really, we're not talking about competing at CONCACAF. We're talking about beating teams in the knockout round of the World Cup, and you probably need the names.
Let me talk to you about winning the Gold Cup, and then I'll talk to you about leaving the big names.
Okay.
If they don't win the Gold Cup in dominant fashion, you should have no hope to do anything of worth at the World Cup.
All right, then I want the big names at the Gold Cup.
Well,
and if those big names are at the Gold Cup, they need to compete. Light a fire in them, because you said they paid $6 million, because you're not going to go out there and squeeze
Does this light a fire under you? If you're a player and you hear a manager talking like this, does this motivate you or you? You guys,
Well,
you guys would have heard this.
well,
Does this fire you up as a player? I need the right characters. He's clearly saying I'm not the right character if I'm one of the 23.
Well, why not say a name?
If you're a manager, and man management is such a big part of managing, and I think it's an even bigger part of national team managing, that you needed to be having meetings and having personal relationships with players to say, I'm sorry, I'm questioning your commitment to this team. I'm not sure you're committed enough. Because look, there's two guys that shouldn't even have been in the Nations League roster, Luna and Ajiman, and they were the best two guys in the camp. Now they're saying, look, these guys I brought in.
That's a problem case, because then Pochettino's going to think there are more of those out there.
Well,
and you're not in a time to experiment. You're almost a year out from the World Cup.
But how do you not experiment if the guys you're having aren't doing the job? So what I'm saying, people used to say stuff during that bad run when we didn't qualify. How come we don't have it would ask me, how come we don't have a established center back pairing? Because they all played bad. You put this guy in with this guy, bad game. Okay, let's change that. Let's put this guy in with this game, bad game. Oh, string 3-4 games together, now you have a pairing. But if you have a continual situation where nobody's playing well, and you got to keep chopping and changing until you figure out somebody who plays well.
You couple that with how bad the U.S. Soccer Federation has been, from the Greg Berhalter hiring, where Dave Sarachan was the interim coach for 13 months, how much time he lost there, from the Greg Berhalter rehire, and how much time was lost there between Anthony Hudson and between B.J. Callahan, and finally from him coming here, and now Mauricio Pochettino's just been so much time with this group that's been lost. And now you couple it with them not being able to perform at their club level. It's all coming to a head.
Yeah, but I disagree with Herc a little bit on that. Is I don't think if you look at a coach 4 years out, you're not making any decisions on a World Cup 4 years out. You're looking at it like, I don't even know if these guys are going to be fit, if they're going to, where their form's going to be, what they're doing. Yes, it's nice to have some continuity for sure, but I think there's still that point where I'm honestly worried, but it's 6 months out, 3 months out, 4 months out,
there's no
2 months
qualifying
out,
case.
where I know that, but where I really start to then get really worried. I'm not happy with the attitude right now, because when you have an opportunity, you only have so many opportunities to impress anybody. And there's only, how many camps are there till the World Cup? What did we say?
6 windows.
6 windows?
6. We're down to 6 windows.
6 windows. And when you have that chance to say, like right now, you look at someone like let's just say the 2 guys I just mentioned, Ajiman and Luna, you're putting something in the coaching staff's head. Look, this guy stepped up when this guy didn't. You never want to put that in anybody's head. If I'm Josh Sargent and I'm going, why am I letting this guy get in the coach's head? I want to be at a World Cup. I'm not going to waste these opportunities. And they're just wasting opportunities over and over again and giving opportunities to guys that we're thinking, why is this guy getting an opportunity?
I'm more worried about.
You know why he's getting it? Because you're playing terrible.
I'm more worried about the Weston McKennies. I'm more worried about the Giovanni Reynas. I'm more worried about the Christian Pulisic's, the Tyler Adams, the core, the nucleus of Matt Turners. Those are the guys I want a fire lit under, because I think you light a fire under those guys, the rest is contagious organic.
Well, but they're also the ones that are going to be game winners for you, for the most part. And like we talked about earlier, there's 10 guys that are going to be the core of your team. And then there's going to be some guys that show up that go, wow, I didn't expect that. That was, those are bonuses. And then you have other guys that you say, okay, this guy's injured. Can you do a job for me? I know it's not going to be the same, but can you do a job for me? But if you're going to be successful, you need the majority of your stars to be stars. And then you need a couple surprises, and then you need guys who can just do a job for you. And right now, we've got big question marks on all 3 categories.